The world we living in is starting to feel different. It's starting to feel like the world is full of NPCs. The world is starting to feel dystopian. And a lot of people are starting to feel like they don't belong. People are starting to feel like they can't relate. So in this video, we're going to show you what people have been going through. Let's see.
I'm at a point in my life where I feel like I do not relate to anybody. I mean, I'll overhear conversations in public, and it's like people talking about other famous people that already are rich and have everything that they want. And I'm like, that's really what's on your mind? Like, you don't want to do that yourself? Hey, bro, did you catch that fight? Did he catch? No. No, I didn't, dude. I don't care about that. I mean, it's literally to the point where I am so obsessive. Like, I'm obsessed. And I don't even have everything figured out. I'm still figuring it out as I go. But I know in the end, either way, I'm gonna make it work. Because I'm not gonna settle for anything less.
There's no way that nobody in the world should believe in one man an idea. One man book. Why? When there's so many different possibilities, how could one person be smarter? To get out of this, we gotta all collectively come together. But there's a big problem with that. Very big problem. It's just assimilation. If this is assimilation, if we all wake up, that means game over. There's nobody play. Who gonna stay in a boring assimilation? Nobody. And if we go black, that means we never existed. So what was better? The assimilation or forever darkness? I don't know. That's what I've been trying to figure out.
Now, there's a lot of belief that your cup holds a lot of dark and negative energies.
Oh, my cup got power. And it's dark energy for sure, because you can't see it. But dark energy is good. Because dark energy is stronger than the light.
And this is how I know none of this shit is real. Every time I go into CVS, it ain't nobody in there, like maybe 2 or 3 people. I've gone to CVS so many different times of the day. And this isn't just today or recently. This is something I've noticed for years. The CVS employees are always stocking. They are always putting stuff on the shelves. There's nobody ever really in CVS. But why every time I go in here to get something, it's never anything on the fucking shelves? I really feel like a lot of people and shit be fake. And this is for all my woo-woo people, because y'all probably like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, none of this shit exists until I arrive. These people were just placed here. I'm not even sure if, now that I'm sitting outside of my car, are they even real? Nothing exists but me and what it is that I went in there to receive or get. Nothing else exists. Everything else in front of me is a play. Okay, that's my little...
Look, I'm having a real issue here, and I need to be honest with y'all for a second. As I'm going deeper into this awareness, I'm noticing a pattern that is starting to freak me out. I can sit here and talk to certain people on how everything in this universe is connected, how consciousness shapes matter, how we are literally fragments of the same exact origin, and they just stare at me. Blank eyes, total confusion, or they look at me and think I'm completely crazy, I'm a conspiracy theorist, I'm this crazy lady. But when I change the subject, I bring up local news or whatever garbage the media is feeding them. Boom. They change up instantly. The lights flick on, their body language shifts, and they start firing back conversation. It's giving me NPC vibes. It's actually kind of terrifying because you realize that you are walking around surrounded by people operating on pure 3D autopilot. It feels like you stepped out of the simulation and now you're looking at the background characters, who are hardwired only to respond to low vibrational noise. The dense 3D world is built on reaction and survival. That's why they light up so fast. It's an automatic response or reaction to something specifically designed to set them off. But when you bring up the source, consciousness, or how reality actually works, it's like trying to plug a high-powered machine into an old rusted outlet. Their system can't handle that kind of voltage. So it glitches, it blows a fuse, and it drops right back down to the only thing they know. This is my thought. Stop trying to force someone to wake up from autopilot to take the wheel. Are you guys seeing this too?
I walk away from what I love in order for what I love to understand that I love it. Yeah, a lot of people can't do that. A lot of people can't walk away from that what they love because a lot of people don't really love shit. A lot of people dependent on shit, right? I ain't dependent on shit. I don't need shit. I can't remember the last thing I needed, gang. Seriously. And what I need, I never get. Right? That's why I'm not a person that try to be understood. I know I'll never get understood. I don't understand myself.
Yeah, but you need basic things. Like, you know when you're hungry, you know you need food.
I know I'm never hungry.
You know
right?
when you're tired, you know you need sleep.
Listen, I'm gonna say this. To know is to know that you know nothing at all. You probably will never understand that, right? That's the true essence of knowing, to know and realize that you know nothing at all, because there's nothing to know, right? I only can tell you part of what things do. I can't tell you in full what anything is.
I'm going to be honest, man. When you are awakened, and I'm talking about awakened when you're past thinking about the things of this world, when you think so deep about life and so deep about everything, when you're awakened, when all of your senses, man, and I'm not talking about all of your chakras are active right now, because I'm trying to get all of mine active. And if any of y'all know about what chakras are, you know what I'm talking about. But when you are awakened to the way that this world really is, and the things that you see that other people cannot see, the things that you hear and the things that you notice that other people cannot notice, it is a lonely life. It is a lonely life, because we're all energy, and everybody is not going to be on your level. Everybody does not see what you see, and many people have called you crazy. Many people think you out of your mind. Many people think that you don't like them, or that you don't like being around other people. But the fact is, your thinking and your thought process is so deep about this life and the existence and how we got here and everything that's around us. You're in tune with nature. You're in tune with everything, and people don't get that. And sometimes, man, people are born that way, but other times, people like me, you go through a trauma or you go through a tragedy, and you recognize, man, that we're in this matrix. You recognize that this world is fake, and you begin to see things, and you begin to see people way different, man. You begin to see that this is a system, that it is a system that's set up and designed, man, that somebody is sitting back, man, and they designed this system to watch people labor and suffer. You begin to see things way different, man, when you're awakened. And I tell you, when you become awakened, it's only a very, 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 very few people who are going to understand who you are and why you walk the way you walk and why you do the things you do, why you think the way you think. When you are awakened to this world, when you are awakened to life itself, to consciousness, you become somebody completely different that nobody understands. And everybody and most people around you gonna think that you're crazy and think that you're nuts. I want to say to those who are awakened, who are lonely right now, you're not by yourself. You're not the only one that's awakened to this world and the way that it is. You see things, and I see things, and we see things that other people don't. If it's you, if you're one of those people who are awakened, leave a comment on there. If you're one of those people who are becoming awakened, you're becoming aware of everything around you, all the lies that we've been told, all the manipulation that we've been told about our existence and how we got here and everything. If you are one of those people, leave a comment. And if you want to know more, leave a comment.
I get asked this question all the time. What's the point of life? But that's the thing right there. There is no point to life. You are a point in life. We all are. And that's the first thing they stole from you. They convinced you that your life is somewhere else, somewhere beyond you, hidden behind something that you hadn't earned yet. And now you sit inside existence, asking existence for permission to exist. A wave asking the ocean why water exists. A heartbeat demanding a thesis before beating. A fire asking for the point of burning. You are not outside life examining it. You are one of the places it's happening. And the reason why this generation feels so spiritually exhausted is because people stop participating in life and started spectating themselves instead. You don't live first anymore, you monitor first. What's the point? What's my purpose? What's the meaning? What's the reason? Why continue? How do I keep living? But look at the structure. Your mind has turned existence into a courtroom. Life is standing trial every morning. You wake up interrogating reality before touching it. And then people wonder why they feel disconnected from living. It's because you keep trying to solve life before entering it. But trees never formed philosophies about photosynthesis before growing. That didn't happen. Rivers never located their purpose before flowing anywhere. I'm trying to get you to understand what I'm saying. expand, stars explode without understanding cosmology, and somehow humans are the one creature arrogant enough to believe that existence must become fully explainable before participation is allowed. What's my purpose? It's the same problem. You purpose. Purpose is not hidden behind your life. Purpose is what your life does while touching other lives. But you were taught to think like machinery, like you were manufactured toward a final assignment. So people spend 20 years trying to become valid enough to begin, waiting for the right identity, the right certainty, the right self, the right destiny. And this is why so many people gave up their capacity to be dreamers on the way to their dreams, because eventually the dream stopped being alive. It became permission to rest, permission to matter, permission to finally feel complete. And this is why so many people get everything they thought they wanted and still feel empty, because they spent their entire life trying to arrive somewhere instead of remaining present enough to live while moving toward it. I need to find myself. Then who was the one searching? Get what I'm trying to tell you right now. You talk about yourself like misplaced luggage, like somewhere out there is a completed version of you waiting to be discovered, instead of a living system still moving, still being formed through grief and love and failure and embarrassment and responsibility and touch and loss and creation and survival. Human beings are not uncovered, they are accumulated. And then comes anesthesia spirituality. Everything happens for a reason, but no, some people do fail you. Some systems fail you. Some damage is damage. And the reason why that sentence sounds so comforting is because randomness terrifies the nervous system. Because if everything happens for a reason, then nobody abandoned you, nobody betrayed you, nobody chose themselves over your pain. You know that didn't happen. So the sentence becomes a sedative. It becomes a beautiful way to avoid grief, because not every scar is a secret lesson. Some are just evidence that grace made you continue anyway. And then they told you that happiness was the goal. So not everybody's surveilling themselves to death. Am I happy? Why don't I feel fulfilled? What's wrong with me? But the happiest moments of your life probably happened while you forgot to monitor yourself entirely, because happiness was never supposed to become government. It's weather. A sunset stops being beautiful the second you demand it to remain permanently in the sky. Waiting for happenstance to become permanent. You watch joy die right in front of you. And here's the other part, right? Here's the other part. The loneliness masquerading as wisdom. You have to love yourself first. Humans learn language from other humans. Why would love emerge any differently? Because some people only discovered they were lovable because somebody finally treated them like they were. But modern culture keeps trying to turn human beings into closed loop systems. Self-contained, self-healing, self-loving, self-regulating, self-sustaining. No wonder everybody's exhausted. Human beings are collapsing, trying to perform the labor of entire villages alone, attempting to carry an ecosystem of support inside one exhausted body. And then comes closure, the fantasy that pain must completely resolve before movement is allowed. But no, some doors never close. Catch what I just told you. Some doors never close. You just stop bleeding when you pass them. That is the truth about closure, for real. Healing is not always an ending. Sometimes healing is carrying ambiguity without collapsing beneath it. But your mind in spectator mode cannot tolerate unresolved existence. It wants certainty and finality and completion and permanent answers. It wants life solved before it wants life lived. And when it cannot solve life, it starts converting pain into philosophy. Now it starts to say it hurts too much. It's too hard. I can't do this anymore. How am I supposed to keep living? I just can't move on. And you're not always supposed to. Listen to me. You're not always supposed to. Not from love. Not from grief, not from betrayal, not from becoming. Some things are not meant to be erased. They become part of your structure without turning into the center of your collapse. I understand what I'm saying. Some things are not meant to be erased. They are meant to become a part of your structure without remaining the center of your collapse. Healing is not always forgetting. Sometimes it's just learning how to carry memory without letting it devour your entire future. You think you're failing because your wound still exists? Healed skin still remembers the cut? Understand what I just told you. Healed skin still remembers the cut. Pain is not revelation. Pain is intensity going way past carrying capacity. That is all it is. Pain is intensity exceeding the current carrying capacity. But now the mind takes temporary overwhelm and translates it into an internal truth. The body says I'm overloaded, and the spectator says existence has become impossible. And that's the catastrophe. You think that you're discovering truth, but you actually discover exhaustion beyond language. That's what you actually discover. A storm feels infinite from inside you. That does not make it permanent. I want you to understand that. And you don't want to hear this, but some of what's crushing you was never supposed to become part of you permanently. Some of you spent so long surviving everything that you no longer know who you are outside of carrying it. You keep calling it a personality, and your body calls it an emergency response, and eventually the organism revolts. Not because you're weak, but because no nervous system was designed to indefinitely carry unprocessed grief, economic instability, social fragmentation, continuous simulation, algorithmic comparison, identity performance, survival fear, emotional isolation, all at once forever. It is too hard. I want you to understand some of it is too hard. I know life's too hard. Some of it is too hard. But it's not life itself. It's the arrangement, and that distinction matters. You are not broken because impossible weight feels impossible to carry. Mountains do require legs, that's difficulty. But if somebody chained concrete to your spine and called it maturity, your collapse would not be proof that walking is impossible. And some of you have been dragging entire architectures through your nervous system for so long, exhaustion starts to sound like a philosophy. I can't do this anymore? That's correct. That's correct. You cannot continue carrying it the way you've been carrying it. That is not the same as life becoming impossible. Burnout is often the body revolting against prolonged self-abandonment. The nervous system collapses pathways that became unsustainable. That breakdown before work, that crying in the bathroom, that numbness, that exhaustion, that sudden inability to keep pretending, that was not always weakness. Sometimes it was your body trying to free you from an arrangement your mind kept calling normal. But spectator mode renames the collapse. Failure, worthlessness, meaninglessness, hopelessness. And once you've been trained to survive performance, your own humanity starts to feel like dysfunction. And the worst part is that sometimes you ignore your body and go anyway. You get dressed anyway, you answer that email anyway, you clock in anyway, you smile anyway, you perform anyway, and even while something inside you was collapsing hard enough to bring your entire body to tears, and we all know why you walked out that door. It was either rent, or fear, or survival, or obligation, or health insurance, or children, or debt, or expectation, or terror of falling behind, or terror of becoming disposable. And after enough years inside systems that force human beings to override themselves for survival, you stop calling it coercion. You call it maturity. So even your own pain starts sounding irresponsible to you, and you think you're failing life, but your organism is rejecting conditions that no living thing was meant to endure indefinitely. I'm just trying to tell you the truth about it. There are things that you're going to have to put down to be alive correctly. Versions of yourself, roles, performances, obligations, identities built entirely around surviving conditions that you're no longer belonging to. Some identities are just scar tissue that learned how to speak. And maybe that's that part that nobody told you. You were never supposed to permanently solve life. You were supposed to live it. But I want you to get what happens, right? If you actually arrived at a final answer to what's the point? What's the meaning? Why continue? How do I keep living? You wouldn't still be here asking. You would have took yourself away from us. So the solution was never safety. The solution was not certainty either. The solution was also never escape from grief, or vulnerability, or change, or love, or loss, or becoming. The solution is the danger. I want you to get what I'm saying. Those are terminal questions, because living things survive through movement. Terminal things arrive at conclusions. And when you finally stop trying to solve life permanently, something strange happens. Life starts touching you again. Food tastes different. Music reaches further into you. You laugh without monitoring the laugh. You rest without needing to earn it first. You stop interrogating every emotion like it's evidence in a trial. And you stop treating uncertainty like it's an emergency. And guess what else happens? You stop demanding permanence from beautiful things. And suddenly moments stop to start. I want you to get what I'm saying. Suddenly moments will start to arrive whole. Not because the suffering stopped, not because the grief stopped, not even because the world became fair, but because you finally stopped standing outside your own existence demanding proof before participation. And maybe that's what peace really is. Not certainty or permanent happiness or the elimination of pain. Just enough presence to let life touch you while it's happening.
I'm a big Tupac fan, and I often think about what he would be into if he were alive today. And the other day I came across one of the pages from his notebook where he spoke about a movement he was starting called Illuminati. And when he wrote about the Illuminati movement, he was saying how it was for people who feel with their heart and think with their third eye. And this was in 1996, right before he died. So it shows you the direction that he was headed in. Pac was someone who always expressed his spiritual side through his music. But reading this let me know that he was more aware than what we knew. When he says for people who feel with their heart, to me, he was speaking about heart consciousness. And in many ancient texts, the heart is seen as the seat of true knowing and moral clarity. In ancient Egyptian texts, the heart was considered the center of intelligence and was weighed after death as the measure of one's truth. So if he was here today, I think he would be heavily into the spiritual movement. I think he would be into meditation, into breath work, and anything to do with higher learning. And to be at the heart of the gangster rap movement, on death row, speaking about for people who feel with their heart and think with their third eye, that tells you everything you need to know. And before he died, he was speaking about how people need to be more healthy, how men should be doing 100 push-ups a day, and how we don't need no more rappers, ball players, entertainers, and how we need more scientists, more thinkers, and more people who care. He was evolving, and it makes you realize some people just don't belong to their time. They think past it. Years later, the world slowly grows into the ideas that they left behind.
I want to take a moment to be vulnerable on the internet for just a second. And I am doing this because the younger version of me probably needed to hear somebody else share this. And so I figure somebody else might need to hear this so that they know that they're not alone. So I am a loner. And sometimes I wonder if I was born this way or if I'm just this way because of life circumstances. Yeah. And the first time I heard that term, I was in high school, and I immediately knew what it meant, but I felt very defensive and very sad. So, something that I've only shared with one person before is that my entire life, I have never felt like I fit in. I have always felt like an outsider, and it doesn't matter the group. It could be with family, colleagues, friends, associates, strangers. It doesn't matter. I just always feel like I stand out negatively, like a sore thumb. And I honestly can't tell you the last time that I felt like I fit in, like I felt like I belonged. And I do have social anxiety. And on top of that, I have also experienced like unfair judgment just for me showing up. It could be me being someplace and just keeping to myself, not even talking, and then here comes somebody, oh, you look mean, oh, you look bougie, you're acting bougie, and I'm like, I'm not even talking to you, but here you are giving me unfair judgment on me for not speaking to you, yet you haven't taken the time to come and speak to me. Whole time I'm probably shaking in my bones from social anxiety and being scared to even approach. But anyways, so that, with always feeling like you don't fit in, I think has just over time taken a toll on me. And as a kid, I've never had, as a kid, as an adult, I've never had a lot of friends. And I remember when I was younger, praying and crying to God and to my mom, because all I wanted my entire life was just to fit in. And I've accepted that some answers will not be, or some prayers, I've accepted that some prayers will not be answered, and that's okay. That's okay. But I spend a lot of time alone, because when I'm alone is the only time where I feel like I fit in and I feel like I'm not being judged. It's the only time when I feel as though I can just show up as my authentic self. I can be as quirky as I want to be. I can be as funny as I want to be. I'm just me. And I don't have to fear someone talking about me or saying something, I don't know, that just isn't nice. And I say all this to say, if you ever feel like you don't fit in, it's okay. And I also say this to say, rather than judging someone for their appearance, just remember, you never know what they're going through. You never know what they're dealing with internally. And oftentimes, like, what's on the outside isn't necessarily on the inside. And also, for those that don't have a tribe, I hope for you that you one day in your life are able to meet your tribe of people that you can show up to authentically as your whole self. I hope that for you. And it doesn't matter like whether you're a male or female. This goes out to anyone who deals with never feeling like they don't fit in. You're not alone. Okay, bye.
People feel like they just can't relate to nothing. And what's been going on in this world is starting to drive a lot of people insane because a lot of people aren't woke to what's going on. So that's why a lot of people are starting to feel like they can't relate to anything or anyone. So they start to isolate themselves more because people are starting to enjoy their peace more than ever. They try to go to events. They starting to feel like they don't belong. It's starting to feel weird to them. Have you ever been somewhere and as soon as you got there, you had this funny feeling in your stomach and everything just feels weird because you're starting to feel like you're out of place? It makes you uncomfortable. And then it seems like each and every day it's starting to feel like that because you're in this world, and this world is starting to feel like an NPC. It's starting to feel like it's a dystopian world that we live in. Everything is starting to feel like a simulation. So that's why the things you do, you have to ask yourself, what am I doing this for? What's the point? Because everything seems like it's not real. Reality seems like it's gone. People are more disconnected than ever. You don't talk to friends. You don't talk to family members. Because at the end of the day, nobody knows how to be a true friend and a family member. So that's why it's sad, because there's so much that you go through in life. And you could still find yourself to make time. But every time you try to make time, people always come up with excuses. Have you noticed that? You've been living life too. You could still find time to do these things because you're being considerate. But a lot of people don't want to be considerate. A lot of people just think about them and their time, the selfish manner. And I know it's just sad, but that's why you stop giving your time, because you feel like you speak in a different language to people who speak another language. And when you get that feeling, and I know y'all been there before, because I've been there numerous of times, you start to feel like you just wasting your energy. So that's why you feel like you don't belong, because you see what's going on. You're more woke than ever. And that's the hard thing about being woke. It's starting to drive you crazy in a good way. And the reason why it's starting to drive you crazy in a good way, because you always question things now. You always trying to get to the bottom of it. And things that used to just get under your skin is starting to fascinate you now, because you want to know why. And then once you realize how things are, that's what makes you disconnected, because you don't have to follow things. You don't have to follow trends. You're just aware of what's going on. And then you're not letting anything bother you because you're more aware than ever. Because a lot of people aren't aware. So when situations and things appear in their life, they can't control it. But you have control now, because you're not worried about nothing. But you didn't used to be like this, but it's just a way of life now. And you're happy with your new life because you're evolving. And a lot of people don't want to evolve. That's why people still stay stuck in their ways, still continuing living in this NPC world and just going along with the flow. But in your world, you can't do that, because it's going to affect you. It's going to do something to your soul, your spirit. So that's why you rather isolate yourself. And it's not a bad thing. So if you've been feeling like this, like you just can't relate to anybody or anyone, I understand. So that's my take on this situation. Let me know how y'all feel in the comments. And I'm going to see y'all on the next one. Peace.